Sydney Sweeney says she's so excited to meet Kim Novak before playing her in Biopic about Sammy Davis Jr. romance exclusive. The new movie, Scandalous, chronicles Novak's 1950s affair with the famed musician. Sydney Sweeney is counting down the days before she comes face-to-face with Kim Novak, ahead of portraying the Hollywood classic in the upcoming biopic Scandalous. Sweeney, 28, exclusively tells people that while she hasn't met the Vertigo star just yet, she will soon have the opportunity to pick her brain. I'm incredibly honored to be bringing Kim to life. I mean, she is such a fantastic actress. Sweeney says during the October 25th premiere of her latest film, Christie, at AFI Fest 2025. I think her story is still very relevant today in that she dealt with Hollywood and scrutiny with her relationships and her own private life and the control of her image. And I believe that for me, I relate to it in a number of different ways. The upcoming film will follow the real-life narrative of the 1950s romance between Novak and the late musician Sammy Davis Jr. And while Colman Domingo, who is making his directorial debut with the biography, has already met Novak in 92, Sweeney is committed to finishing the third season of Euphoria before she shifts her concentration to Scandalous. Once I finish Euphoria, I switch into Scandalous gear and I'm going to turn my brain into Kim, Sweeney tells people. I'm so excited. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to meet Kim Novak. More recently, the Anyone But You actor has been putting most of her physical and mental energy into impersonating female boxer Christy Martin in her current movie, Christie. And according to Sweeney, achieving a boxer's physique was no easy accomplishment. Whenever I would go on set, especially when I had some of my boxing scenes, I would call my trainer and say, I don't feel big enough. I feel small. And I was getting in my head, and I wasn't feeling like I gained enough. She recalls. Sweeney continues. And he was like, this is actually what happens to a lot of bodybuilders before a tournament. They feel little, they get in their head, and it's all mental games. So it was learning a lot about trying to get over that. Sydney Sweeney's enthusiasm to meet Kim Novak may sound like simple reverence from a rising actress toward an icon past, but it resonates far deeper. It encapsulates the symbolic convergence of two women standing at opposite ends of Hollywood's evolution, each embodying the emotional price of being desired, watched, and misunderstood. Novak's Hollywood was one of tightly controlled images, where a studio could determine how a woman walked, smiled, or even loved. Sweeney's Hollywood, by contrast, is algorithmic, driven by viral moments, branding partnerships, and constant digital surveillance. Yet both systems share a common DNA. They thrive on commodifying female emotion. Both demand that women market vulnerability while maintaining composure. Both punish those who deviate from prescribed narratives. In this light, Scandalous becomes more than a period biopic. It becomes a time machine that reveals continuity in Hollywood's cultural machinery. By resurrecting the Novak-Davis romance, the film reopens wounds that America once tried to seal under the veneer glamour. It asks whether love can exist in an industry built on illusion, and whether truth can survive the weight of public appetite. The tragedy of Kim Novak's relationship with Sammy Davis Jr. lies not only in its oppression, but in what it exposed. How America's obsession with purity, race, and reputation infected even its most beautiful fantasies. Their love story illuminated the limits of freedom in an industry that sold liberation as a product but feared it in practice. In revisiting this through Sweeney's performance, Scandalous invites modern audiences to confront how similar patterns persist, how racialized narratives, gender double standards, and cultural policing still shape celebrity life. Sweeney's comment that Novak's story is still very relevant today thus functions as both tribute and warning. For Sweeney, portraying Novak is not just an artistic challenge. It's an act of self-recognition. She, too, has been dissected by tabloids, reduced her image, and questioned for asserting creative control. Her rise from Euphoria to Christie, and now Scandalous, reflects a deliberate shift from being the object of the camera to becoming its author. In Novak, Sweeney finds both a mirror and a map, a woman who learned that beauty was both a weapon and a trap. By stepping into Novak's emotional landscape, Sweeney participates in a generational dialogue about fame's double-edged nature. This intersection between empathy and embodiment may well define her legacy as an actress capable of translating nostalgia into critique. If executed with care, Scandalous has the potential to reshape how Hollywood tells its own history. Instead of repeating myths of victimhood or glamorizing transgression, it could present Novak and Davis as real people, flawed, brave, and constrained by forces beyond their control. Such a portrayal would not only humanize them, but also challenge the audience's complicity in consuming sanitized versions of the past. By situating the story within its racial and gender realities, Domingo's directorial approach can move the biopic genre from mere spectacle to social reflection. The film could stand alongside Carol, Loving, and Elvis as part of a growing canon that reimagines history through empathy rather than nostalgia. In a larger sense, Scandalous is Hollywood's act of confession. By revisiting one of its own suppressed scandals, it acknowledges how the same industry that built Novak's career also destroyed her autonomy. That duality, creation and consumption, empowerment and exploitation, is the essence of the Hollywood mythos. Today's entertainment world may appear more inclusive, but its underlying mechanisms of control remain eerily familiar. Image management has shifted from studio contracts to social media algorithms, and gossip columnists have been replaced by influencers and paparazzi drones. Yet the emotional stakes are unchanged. Women must still negotiate authenticity against expectation, selfhood against spectacle. In an age when audiences are both consumers and critics, stories like Novak's are no longer just history lessons. They are moral reflections. They remind us that fame without freedom is imprisonment, and that every image comes at the cost of someone's silence. For younger viewers discovering Novak through Sweeney, Scandalous offers a bridge between eras, the analog tragedy of the 1950s refracted through the digital anxieties of the 2020s. For older audiences, it may function as vindication, a long overdue recognition that what was once dismissed as tabloid gossip was, in truth, a story of courage against systemic oppression. The partnership of Sydney Sweeney and Colman Domingo represents a generational shift in Hollywood storytelling. It suggests an industry more self-aware, willing to confront its complicity, and eager to reclaim voices once silenced. Domingo's choice to center Novak's emotional truth and Davis's humanity, not their notoriety, signals a maturing artistic conscience. Ultimately, Scandalous is not about scandal at all. It is about restoration. It seeks to restore dignity to two artists separated by race and era, to reframe Hollywood history not as a parade of perfection, but as a mosaic of pain, rebellion, and survival.